What's good, YouTube and Twitch? We're live to both right now with a pretty interesting discussion, and a guest is in the house. Introduce yourself.
What is going on, guys? It's Blade once again.
One of the only people that might be able to out-pun me. But with the Megatins coming out, there are two huge discussions on how they will wave into the format, and that's Nibiru, the Primal Being, as well as Dark Ruler No More. And people are scratching their heads, really trying to figure out how to stop these freaking things within their combo decks, because having to stop on just 4 summons for Nibiru and possibly get nuked. It feels like Gores a lot, right? Like, where you enter a battle phase, and it changes the entire game. You might not just attack because there's a hand there. And if you can't handle that Gores, you don't attack into it because you can't play through it. Now, people summoning out have to weigh the risk. Do they have Nibiru? Can I handle Nibiru? Can I extend past Nibiru? It creates this entire crazy place where, if you can't deal with it, what do you freaking do? Do you just go for it? So, Blade and I found an answer today. A pretty good one. Yeah. And this is an ancient answer that's found its ways through many different metagames and side decks. Very recently, in the Pendulum era, and through multiple metagames, it filters back in. And it stops pretty much anything. Yeah, I know I sound like a snake oil salesman. It stops anything, negates anything, it does take care of all your problems. It's Prohibition. This forgotten side deck tech card is ancient and has clarified wording now. Activate by declaring one card name. Cards with that name and their effects cannot be used. Cards already on the field are not affected, including face down cards. So Prohibition's text has been really cleared up, but guess what? Nibiru's gonna be stuck in hand to activate. Prohibition also is going to linger to stop Dark Ruler No More so that your negates can try to take care of anything that would threaten Prohibition. And Blade, you've come up with a really spicy way to abuse Prohibition. You want to elaborate a little?
Oh, of course. I mean, hey, what can I say? You basically, let's take a deck like Orcust, I guess. You can normal summon Neo Space Connector. Now, let me elaborate here. You're going to use Connector effect, summon Aqua Dolphin, right? Nothing too crazy here. You're going to activate Aqua Dolphin. You're going to snipe whatever other hand trap they have. But then, I think the part that most people forget is that Dolphin actually shows the entire hand. So, with this in mind, we activate Prohibition. If they have Nibiru, we just are like, okay, cool. Prohibition, calling your Nibiru in hand. And once we find out they open 3 copies of Nibiru, we're just going in.
So, the really cool thing about this, though, is that Neo Space Connector is already in many people's decks, and you're able to go up through your routes, and this is just on your second summon that you're getting to see their entire hand. Also, you have as likely a chance to draw your Prohibition as they are Nibiru, if you're maxing out 3 copies within your side deck. So you're able to take Aqua Dolphin. If it's not there, you just take care of another problem card within your hand and stop it from being played completely while setting up your reactionary board. And then you know perfectly how to react and what to stop all in one fell swoop. That's the reason I made this discussion an actual possible video on stream in the first place, is the absurdity of being able to take down their entire form of play and choke their most prominent strategy. And then you're going up into something like Isolde or a Nightmare, depending on your deck, because you do have access to the 2 warriors, and then comboing off Orcust, most likely deck to be able to abuse this to its maximum. Now, there's another card that we're leaving out here that we've been meaning to get to that has been abused more so in Pendulum decks than any other. And while you do have the ability to go into Jackal King early within Pendulums, and Prohibition would also give you spell counters, you gotta have the big brain. It's that boy, Psyblocker. Psyblocker reads, once per turn, you can declare a card name. Cards with that name and their effects cannot be used until the end of your opponent's next turn. So you can start your summon off that way. You can make your Pendulum summon your 4th summon and just be able to use it. Like, there's so many ways to incorporate Psyblocker. Now, Pendulums do like to see combo card, combo card, combo card, but Psyblocker can become just another link material, especially with something like Dragon Caller Magician, able to turn it into a a dragon for your guard dragon combos. So side blocker isn't just a useless hunk of junk after your initial, like, okay, I gotta stop something here, I'm gonna stop Nibiru if I can't handle it. If I can handle Nibiru with extensions, I can make it something else. Like, he's never dead in the water because he can become, like I said, a dragon piece, or he can stop something else relevant if you already have the Jackal King access, such as, if you don't have a Zephyr play, you can stop Dark Ruler No More from being able to activate it. It's pretty crazy because you declare any card name. It's not limited to monster or whatever. You're able to call any card name with these. So I think these are really forgotten techs that lay back in people's minds. You know, whenever you look through formats and you're like, what's missing? What was played? What was able to take things down within craziness? These are two of those laying in wait techs. How do you feel about these realistically, Blade?
So, on a real note, let's back up a bit. Let's start with Prohibition. I personally think the fact that you go Aqua Dolphin, you just snipe their hand trap, right? Ignoring the fact that they could have Ash. You snipe whatever hand trap they have. You activate Prohibition. Okay, cool. I get to basically stop another card out of their hand, and then we go in. However, yeah. I think one way to take it even further is the most pro of strategies. So we're playing Orcust, right? But we're playing Warrior Orcust. So the way it works is this always makes sure our Prohibition is live. Because even if we don't draw the connector, obviously you're not always going to draw a connector, right? Yeah. But if we draw a warrior, any access to Isolde, we send the 3 equipped spells and we're chilling. We then get access to Dolphin from our deck.
I've been seeing Isolde played a lot more online too recently, by the way. Not even jokes. Like, Isolde keeps coming up in combo decks lately.
Yeah, Isolde, I still think Isolde's crazy. And let me just make sure everyone understands this. This is the maybe even more pro strategy. So you're going to summon Connector, you're going to get your Dolphin, you're going to snipe a card. You're going to link for Isolde, you're going to special a second Dolphin, you snipe another card. But the key piece in mind is we're playing Orcust, right? So we get our Divine Sword Phoenix Blade back. We snipe another card. So we've sniped 2 cards. We activate Prohibition, turns off their Nibiru, and then remember, they have 3 Nibirus in hand, so we're just totally fine.
They're just totally brick. This is a realistic possibility.
This is 100%. We already sniped their Ash, even though they could have used it on our connector. No worries. So,
well, okay, here's the thing. Connector's not always gonna get stopped, and you also have the possibility to mayhaps start your turn with Aqua Dolphin and then an additional extender. You're not always going to get like stuck, you know, whenever you get Dolphin in the hand. But I think the power of this is what you're saying is Prohibition's most likely going to be better in a deck that can further abuse it. Get a peek at that hand, which is where the Dolphin shines most in this discussion. Whereas instead of just blinding, all right, I can't handle a Nibiru, I'm calling it, they could not have Nibiru at all. So you want to be able to use it for realistic value, and that's where a deck playing something like Aqua Dolphin comes in.
Okay, yeah, on a real note, it actually, like, technically can work. Because if you're playing Isolde already, there's nothing wrong with playing Prohibition because you'll know what they have in hand. Especially if, like, your deck doesn't care about something like using your Isolde summon on Aqua Dolphin. So, honestly, yeah, I could, like, if you're playing Isolde already, you could potentially be playing that for going first.
How often will that happen? They have 3 Nibiru, like 0.0001.
Oh, no, of course, but we're always just a god, so...
Oh my gosh. Anyways, guys, realistic discussion here. I do think there is something to be said for any deck that can get a realistic peek at the hand. Prohibition amplifies itself. Instead of blindly calling cards you can't handle, you're able to handle pretty much as a 1-for-1 any card that could potentially be a problem. And if you're sniping, like Blade said, a second card out of hand, they're left with just 3 cards, and you've probably set up further disruptions and negates. As for Pendulums, Sideblocker being a random call is a little more fine, especially if you've summoned a Jackal King to deal with the Nibiru. Being able to call a random card that could be a problem is much finer because you're going to end up using Dragon Color to link it away. So, like, this piece, Sideblocker has appeared in many more metagames thanks to Pendulums lately than Prohibition because of its body on board aspect, whereas Prohibition, you're having to just declare the card name and keep it there. Sideblocker also, if it somehow lasts, is a once per turn where you can get reuse out of it, and it's not limited to a once per turn. So, like, let's say you actually were to link off the Sideblocker and reborn it, you can call another freaking card. So there's extra uses to Sideblocker that people have forgotten about, with it being a tech as well. Any final notes to this discussion, Blade?
I mean, honestly, all I gotta say is we always draw on 3 Nibirus.
Alright, this is Blade YGO. Check out his channel as well as subscribing to me. Use my TCG player link down below if you're going after any of these crazy cards, but do consider heavily first of what options and decks you're playing. And like the video if you enjoy these joint live discussions. Uncut, unedited, no Blade chibi here.